Hi everyone. You just got to love this volatility in the markets. A lot of money to be made if you're paying attention to your charting. At any rate, something I'm looking for tomorrow morning is a little bit of weakness in Asia and Europe first thing in the morning. And I'm thinking on the monthly chart here, you're probably going to see the DAX lose about 200 points, come down to this reference trend level, and then we're going to get some bids coming into the European markets and the U.S. markets. So there's probably going to be an opportunity early in the morning to enter to the long side in the U.S. equities. Some things I'm looking for is if we do open flat, somewhat flat tomorrow morning, we are right at the 200 SMA weekly on the SPY. So just keep that one in mind. And we do have a trend line and price support responsive right through this areas. So somewhere right through here is probably a pretty good idea to start adding to the long side for a potential bounce tomorrow. Now on our Russell, because the banks really got hit there at the end of the day, it came down and tagged the 200 SMA on the daily chart. So that's another area that there might be a potential support for tomorrow. And then finally on your Qs, you didn't get any Ichimoku support, but there was a trend line from back here from December. Started back in December, the trend line, and we do have reference trend line support. And right here, we're going to be opening right near the bottom of the cloud too as potential support. I want to start with their XLF, and if there is a bounce tomorrow, that's the first place I want to look at. We are on our weekly, the support line on our Ichimoku. We are right near that if we get any type of weakness in the morning for a potential bounce in our financials. And we're also on the daily, we're right near the bottom of our cloud for additional support. And then on your monthly, if we do get a little bit of sell-off in the morning, we're also right on our signal line on our monthly. So we got all three time frames giving somewhat of support on our financials here. And then the final thing I wanted to point out is we got our 200-day SMA on our 4-hour chart. We did push below that yesterday. So this does logically, with all its supports, suggest that we're going to get a bounce above, or at the very least above our 200 SMA on the 4-hour. So that's another area to keep on your watch. Our industrials, which have been champs here, we're right above our 200 SMA weekly, and we closed right on top this trend, right at this trend line today. And we got a little bit, despite the market just completely falling apart at the end of the day. You notice we didn't sell on the lows today. So there is some speculation in the industrials. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the 30 SMA weekly. And then right here we're on our right at our signal line on our monthly chart too. So that's something to keep an eye on too. And then finally on our 4-hour chart, if you notice right here, we're below our 200 SMA on our 4-hour chart. So if we did get a responsive buy tomorrow, we could easily rally all today's losses on our industrials tomorrow. And there is reason for a bounce in Caterpillar and is it Metawova or something like that? MTW reports in the morning. It's an industrial. It's an industrial. It's like Caterpillar or similar. So there's a there's a reason to think that the industrials could bounce tomorrow. Our technology XLK, it closed right on top of the fib fan zone. It hit it to the tick on the close, and we crossed right below a prior trend line. So there is a very good chance for the technology is even going to rally tomorrow, especially after those really good NVIDIA numbers that came out overnight. So Intel, Micron, ADP, all those semiconductor stocks are going to have a bid in it tomorrow. So there's a very good chance we're going to get a rally in the Qs. On your weekly, you're on the fib zone, but you're also on your 30 SMA, and that does tend to be a bounce point. So just keep that in mind. And to finish all off on your technology here, we closed right on the monthly signal line. We didn't even break it. So that's all supportive for a bounce on tomorrow. Uh, your XLE, there's really nothing out there to jumps out and says, "Hey, buy me right here." But we did have a trend line support that has acted as support in the past, and we are at the bottom of the cloud, and there's a chance we get some responsive buying into your energy space. Another one potential bounce. That's your XLV. We are right smack dab on our 200 SMA daily on XLV. That's your healthcare. Your XLB, your material space, there's still not really good support here. So just keep that one in mind. I do think we're going to see a rollover in the dollar tomorrow. If that's the case, that would be supportive of your materials and your energy spaces. We'll see what happens. I did get some gold to the long side today, thinking that was happening. But we do have the 200 SMA here if you do get a little bit more weakness in your materials space. Your XLY is another one that doesn't really have a lot of support right here. We do have our fib fan zone. We violated earlier this week, and we came rocketing back, and we violated it again about the same amount. So there's a good chance we're going to bounce again. We'll see how the markets react here. But there's no type of Ichimoku type of support to for this stock sector. On our weekly chart, we do have 98.58 area as potential support for your consumer discretionary. It's been a very bullish area in the markets, so I'm not saying we're going to come down to that, but that would be the nearest place I would suggest if the markets were weak in the morning. Your XLP, which has been pretty bad with the higher interest rates and everything, it's still hanging out on the weekly right here at the bottom of your Ichimoku cloud. It's a bullish cloud, so if we do get some responsive buying, of course, it's going to catch a bid. So we'll see what happens. Now, the good thing about XLP here, we have our 30 SMA we're bouncing right off of. Okay, it's acted as pretty good support here. And we do have our support line on our monthly here, suggesting that there could be a responsive bid in our consumer staples if interest rates do stabilize here. So this could be a buying opportunity in the consumer staples, which has really been hit on this sell-off this month. Now, I do want to point out here, we did have a little bit less bad close here on our transports. We've been fighting this 200 SMA on the 4-hour chart for our transports, but we are still in this little fib zone we've been fighting. The weekly on our transports is back below our support line again, so hopefully we get a relief rally tomorrow, taking us back up to 184.80. It looks like we have a reference price level support that we actually closed on today, so that is bullish. So there might be price support at this level. And so far this month, the transports seem to be holding this upper fib area. We're kind of pushing down a little bit right here going into tomorrow, so there's a pretty good chance we're probably going to bounce back up tomorrow, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens on that. And I'm going to finish it off with your semiconductor stocks. If you notice, we're right on our monthly signal line, potentially a buy point for our semiconductors. And boy, those NVIDIA numbers, they were awesome. In a normal market, it'd be going to the moon in the after hours. So, but you know, it had an upside, but nothing nearly like it would have been just a couple weeks ago. The weekly kind of here is showing that our semiconductors have violated this upper channel as of close, but I'm thinking we're going to come right back in that channel and probably retrace somewhat of this tomorrow if the tape is as good as I think it's going to be. Just to finish the video out, it really looks like we're going to probably bounce on our semiconductors tomorrow. It looks like we've overshot our range, and we're just going to bounce right back into the range tomorrow. I could be wrong. Something could happen overnight, and the markets just continue to fall out of favor. But I do think what's going to happen here is some responsive buying is going to come either in the overnight session or first thing in the morning, and we're probably going to see the Dow up at some point tomorrow, maybe even to close 500 some points, in my opinion, with this high volatility. So personally, I'm not taking any shorts tomorrow unless the tape starts showing a lot of put action, which I truly do not think there's going to be a lot of put action tomorrow, but we'll see. Okay, that's all I got to say, and hopefully we can end this week out on a good note. Thanks a lot.